Are you guys the sole distillery in Boston?
No. Fortunately, there's a couple others that are.
Why is that fortunate? That's the competitors, man.
No, because when the tide comes in, all the boats rise. You know, I started Boston Harbor Distillery to prove that Americans can make great whiskey because for decades I've watched everybody drink Scotch and Irish whiskey, and the poster child for American whiskey is bourbon. People come in, they're confused. They think bourbon is whiskey and whiskey is bourbon, but in fact that's not true because whiskey, just like beer, or craft overall is really an ingredient story. So bourbon, because of all the rules and laws that are surrounding it, is really the most regulated business. It has to be made with a majority of corn. So over 51% corn, aged in new white American barrels for a minimum of 2 years. Does not need to be made in Bourbon County because that's dry, but it does need to be made in America. So it's like champagne is to France or tequila is to Mexico. Bourbon is uniquely American. Bourbon. But when I helped Jim Cook start Sam Adams, we were using 100% malted barley instead of corn. And, you know, it was Bud, Miller, Coors, Corona, Heineken. Those are lighter beers because they're made with corn, an adjunct. Whereas we use the whole grains, the real flavorful part of, you know, that's how we started the beer with these really beautiful grains. And that's what we're doing at Boston Harbor Distillery. We're using whole grains like rye and malted barley to make our whiskey instead of corn. So we don't make bourbon, even though that's what much of America is drinking.
Now, who's your demographic traditionally? Like, who's going to buy this from the store?
You are. No.
Well, if I'm getting drunk, I'll go buy it, 100%.
Well, I don't want you to buy it to get drunk. So,
come on, Rhonda.
No, honestly, you know what? It's really about having a mindful experience. And, you know, not to be boring about it, but really you should enjoy what you drink. And then sometimes you have so much fun doing that and just really exploring the flavors and slowing down a little bit. You know, you got to get up the next day and keep moving. That's how I've survived being in this industry for so long. You really do have to be mindful.
Ready the next day.
Yeah, I mean, you don't go out to get drunk. You go out to have some drinks, and then things transpire.
Yeah,
I suppose.
So who's been buying it mostly now?
Really enthusiasts, people who really want to learn about different whiskeys. So, you know, we're not getting the JMO drinker, probably. We're probably not getting the Jack or the Jim Beam drinker right now. That'll come maybe in time. But there's this whole group of individuals that do love to explore whiskey either from America or from the rest of the world. And they're discovering what we're making here, and they're very impressed.
And so when you start, you're like, okay, I have this product. I mean, you've been around for like 7-8 years now, correct?
Yeah, well, I launched, I incorporated in 2012, and we opened the doors in 2015, so we're still in our 4th year.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So when you start and you start selling, are you first like, okay, I want to get product placement in like a Whole Foods first or a liquor store or restaurants? Like what's normally the play like right as you start?
Right as you start, I think I've always been partial to restaurants and bars.
Just because you grew up in it?
I grew up in it, and often they'll put it on the, you know, if they put it on the menu, it's helping you build your brand. And you meet the bartenders and the wait staff, and you talk to people. And then when you're not there, they're probably talking to people about when someone says, hey, what's this? The stores are a little bit different, though they're getting better. But certainly we're in Whole Foods.
Nice.
We're in a lot of the fine wine stores where they hand sell things to people that want to understand the story and to see if it's real and to try to get connected to that. To the brand.
And so do you guys do any like sort of e-commerce?
Yeah, sure.
That's boring though. The fun stuff's like you like going out as the owner, like going to like all the restaurants in the South and saying like, hey, I got this awesome product. I'd love for you guys to sell it, right?
Yeah, we get the door shut in our face a lot.
Yeah. How many times does that happen for you in your career? Gazillion? Oh,
yeah, exactly. You just got to pick yourself back up, you know, dust yourself off and get out there and find the next place. But there's a lot of willing participants. I mean, the city that we're in now in Boston, it's booming. There's so many wonderful places. In fact, it's almost too many, too numerous to count. But we need to find our way in. And I think as our whiskey ages and we get out there more and people like you help us spread the word, we really have something that's rich and authentic and just beautiful. It tastes great, and we got to get that Boston pride going.